Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a good day today. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I'm going to read some information that I got from some websites and Yellow Rose for Texas YouTube channel, and it has to do with how these elite families stole our money. And used our birth certificate, which is our bond, which we're traded on the stock market with. It just is a little bit of history of how they did that. So I'm just gonna read it to you. So in 1917, our security of the person was seized under National Security Act. People were told it was necessary for the government to use the funds. Congress was made a beneficiary of the funds, which is our birth certificate bond. All the American people's bonds. All the accounts were moved. People no longer were allowed access to their bank account funds, which is still in their name to today. The banks were made trustees. They were to issue loans from the person's account or your birth certificate bond because you're worth money, okay? You're worth a lot of money. We shouldn't be paying for anything. So they were to issue loans from the person's account upon your request of that individual. This is where all credit cards, mortgages, student loans, etc. are taken from. The IRS has manual lists of Social Security numbers as a CUSIP. CUSIP is Committee on Uniform Securities Identification Procedures. The definition of that is it is your 9-digit code or your Social Security number. Identifies a North American financial security for the purposes of facilitating or clearing and settlement of trades. The banks lend no bank money, nor lost any bank money from any mortgage, credit card, or school loan. It came from the bonds or your birth certificates held in trust and still does. Some of this makes me really angry and really mad about how they've taken our money. Office of Comptroller of Currency in 2005 excerpt follows. He said they are gaining the properties by other means, which is a reference to covet means. A private system called Fedwire was created so that no one could see the account or who was taking funds from it except the Federals, who also are the merchant owners of Wall Street. This is why the Wall Street agents have access to Fedwire and can look up Social Security numbers and their associated bond or birth certificate and mortgage or other monies drawn from it. Then they seized all the gold. Owning gold is against the law, or at least back then, but Sir Rothschild had a multiple-story New York vault for gold, and it was full while Fort Knox was empty. In 1933, a member of the Luciferians, Chicago branch, had created a left-hand path entertainment system for children. This was put into effect in 1933 with the Property Tax Act. This created the ISD, or Interdependent School District, and made all property owners the employers. The boards are trustees for real properties, and county tax assessor is their agent, not the public's. This act substance was then changed, and all rights were removed from the property owners and parents. So they've infiltrated our schools back in 1933, or in the 30s. In 1952-53, the Cox Independent Committee was formed to find out what all the corporations were doing in the schools. This is why they rediscovered the company store system. At that time, the owners' names were still visible as per law. Example, Gads owned Saks, Prince Philip owned Phillips 66, etc. They found a network of corporations all owned by the same blood-related people. They also found out what they were doing, infiltrating the schools, and it raised alarms. Evelyn Rothschild was appointed to the committee, which can only be called a breach. He was an interested party. In 1953, he shut them down and whitewashed all the records. He had found out how they were gaining the information, and it pointed out all the flaws in his company store. He took that information and made changes to the SEC, which is covet means, among other things. From that point on, the owners' names, our names, were never seen again. What people see are the royals, proxies as CEO, and board names. 1954, Evelyn Rothschild was awarded the Royal Merit for protecting the Queen's profit and became Sir Evelyn Rothschild, House of Lords. In 2011, the company's store system was exposed again. Removed from the public is the 1933 Geneva Convention, which is now listed as United States Corporation as bankrupt. This was what the fraud double payments had caused on the ledgers. They had cooked the books again and again. It was closed again by Obama's executive order, now listed as state on SEC. They get paid twice, once from your Social Security bond and once from your hard-earned money. Think about that. So they're pulling money out of your trust, okay, to pay for things. And then when you get a bill of any kind, they're saying you have to pay it again, when that bill should be paid from your trust. You shouldn't have to pay that again from your hard-earned money. A good person to look up to on all this stuff is, her name is Karen Hudes, Hudes, Hoods. She was a whistleblower and she worked for the World Bank. Yeah, look her up and listen to some of her interviews. It's crazy. Common law, if we were under common law, we would have peace officers. They protect the public. But what we're under right now is admiralty law, which is why they're called a police officer and not a peace officer, and they protect the corporation's statutes. And this is just a little bit about, like, if you get a ticket or if you get pulled over by a cop. I'm not too sure if this would really work nowadays because they'll take you in for anything, but it says a ticket is a bill of exchange with the identifying label illegally removed. Signing a ticket puts you in dishonor of the financial instrument, which sends you to court. Turning it improperly as a bill of exchange to the Treasury forces the corporation to remove it, and it docks the policeman's pay because the ticket was illegal under common law. You have the right to travel the road. In America, if you challenge it, they will force you. The Treasury is refusing to pay off the debts, which are the federal's profit. This alters the national debt figure with a double entry for each ticket. If you don't show your ID, they cannot give you a ticket. So if you need to ask the police, is this of security interest? If he says, I don't know, you say, clearly it can't be. Is this a transaction of security? If he says yes, you say, I do not consent. And always when they'll ask you, do you understand? It means you don't agree with it, and don't say yes because it means you're under them. You're once you say you understand, it means they have you under contract. If he says no, you say, okay, I'll be on my way. They have to provide their badge number, ID, and business card. If they don't have all three that match, you are under protest and duress. They are not legal. Ask him, are you giving me an order? If he says yes, that makes him liable for the bill. When people started waking up again, they found that they removed Geneva Convention of 1918, listed them as prisoners of war and Bill of Rights with bills of exchange rights, which were in the missing convention articles. All of this was further altered in the 1930s, or removed from the Geneva Convention, which listed the U.S. first bankruptcy, allowing for seizures of real property and assets of America again. People found that Rothschild altered the bills of exchange in the 1950s, removing our rights and altering particularly Section 8 and 9, which allowed for the grand theft of property, seen in the foreclosures by identity theft, and allows for securities theft on a mass scale of all financial instruments. Financial instruments means your debts or your loans, issued worldwide, even signed gas station tickets. In fact, in the CFR, which is Code of Federal Regulations, Rothschild gave the federals the right to remove from the bills, such as your electric bill is a bill of lading, the bill of exchange title, which identifies it as a financial instrument or a debt or a loan, and they removed remittance, which is our payment from our Social Security bond, from the instruments, as well as its definition from public books, which is your tax bill coupon. Rothschild also gave his bank the right to refuse to honor payments of instruments or your debts and loans. The CFR lists the dollar as a debt note and it pays for nothing. The more you have, the more debt you have. It lists the US dollar for internal use only, which means it is a company store script. They made the National Debt Office make the people the surety without informing them of the debt the corporations owed the people. This is why we are listed as debtors despite the law. No one remembers the Financial Security Agreement now removed from public, SS 4-3000. People found the Treasury, which was Gad Sachs, is actively blocking people from paying off the debts, refusing Ucc3, and in fact knowing this was forcing cash payments, which is a double payment and which is an obstruction of a bankruptcy. This doubled and tripled the figures used as the national debt presented to the people, like a bounced check. Every dollar they say the people owe is actually money that the corporations now claim as theirs, their profit. But it isn't being reported to the IRS as profit. Most of the corporations keep it on the hidden Fedwire. This has allowed for fights between them as they loot the populations, then steal each other's stolen loot. This is what HUD, which is the For-Profit Corporation Actively Working Agenda 21, is reporting stolen from them. Which profit is precisely what the AT&T CEO said when I asked about Ucc-3 and why a lawful financial instrument or debt or loan of payments, a remittance, was refused. They no longer need it returned under the new electronic codes. They are allowed to robo-sign your name and CUSP, which is your Social Security number. They are creating hundreds of financial instruments, debts, or loans. These are then bought and sold. Every debt collection is a financial instrument created, robo-signed, and then bought and sold multiple times. They wipe the account history and payment and create a new instrument by robo-signing, which is like on your credit report too. The collector then adds his profit and duns the individual. DUNS is Data Universal Numbering System, Social Security number assigned to a business entity. When payment is disputed, refused, collector signs that debt or loan or instrument off on the person and collects. This is unrecorded on public records, so they can resell the debt as unpaid. This can be endlessly done. All debt collectors are connected. Payment is always taken from the person. So basically, on your credit report, let's say you have a credit card that you opened, and so you lose your job and you just can't afford to make that payment, okay? Even though you shouldn't be making a payment because that's your money to begin with, and they fooled us all along. So when they try and call you, I found some information out probably almost 20 years ago, and I can't find it anymore. That's probably gone off the web. But basically, if you stop paying on a credit card, let's say, once that original debtor signs it off and sends it to a collection agency, they're done with it. Like, they already got paid for it. They already have their money. They didn't lose any money, okay? They didn't lose any money. You don't owe them any money. Once it goes to a debt collector, those collectors will send you bills. They'll want you to call them. They want you to pay them. They want you to talk to them. Do not talk to them. Do not answer the phone. Do not talk to them. Do not tell them who you are. Even if you answer the phone, don't tell them who you are. If you pay them 1 penny, you have entered under a new contract with that company, okay? So don't pay a single penny. Do not talk to them. And even if you did, let's say, talk to them, you have to ask them, I want a copy contract of what I signed with your company, because I don't think I signed a contract with your company for this. And legally, they won't have a contract with your signature, so they cannot come after you for that money. And the crappy thing is that this goes on for years, where you can have certain debts, and if they can't get that money out of you, they just keep selling it off. They keep selling it off to a new debt collector, and it comes up on your credit report as a new loan every single time they sell it off. So, example, if you have a 16-year-old credit card that you didn't pay any money on, you just refused to pay anything on it, and it's gone to a collection agency, okay, and they literally pay it off every year or two, every time they sell it off, and every time they do that, it comes up as a new loan on your credit report, which is fraud. So, because they're hoping they can get you to pay them money. It's a scam. So, let's hope if we do go through with this Nassara thing and people's debts are paid off and we have no more IRS, credit reports are a part of that. So I've always hated it. I've always hated them, and hopefully they won't be around any longer. So anyway, every financial instrument or debt or loan is counted as a part of the national debt figures. Each of these robo-signed instruments or debts or loans makes a double entry of debt. Every time they raise the debt ceiling by presenting falsified numbers, claiming the creditor as the debtor, the Gadd family and Rothschild are writing themselves a check extracting payment from the American people for the federal Convent of Selene. By making this ceiling level higher each time, they are systematically extracting greater and greater amounts every year. They have stolen our money for years and generations, and it's time to stop. QE is not quantitative easing. It is an acronym for the Queen's Executive Orders, and the corporations are not returning to the public the money owed by taxation. So yeah, QE, Queen's Executive Orders. We haven't been free from Britain like we thought we were up until recently. So no longer. But I just thought I would share that little bit with you. Maybe do some research if you don't understand that. Hopefully you can find some more stuff about how to deal with debt. But it just makes me extremely frustrated and angry that these families have taken our money right from under us, from our families, our whole, from generation to generation. It's just crazy. So anyway, take what resonates with you, look into it some more, do some more research, and anyway, if you have any questions, the email's below, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Just hang in there, guys. Hold the line. We're going to get through this eventually, okay? So give yourself a hug. Go take a walk. Pet your dog or cat. And I love you guys, and we'll see you later. Thanks. Bye.